You know what's wild? There are people making 20 grand a month who are more stressed out than someone pulling in 5. And there are millionaires who'd trade it all just to feel something. So here's the $1,000,000 question, literally. Why doesn't more money make us happier? Stick around, because what I'm about to share might completely flip your perspective on wealth. Welcome to Success Talks. We unveil wealth secrets hidden from the world's sight. Step into the domain of financial freedom. Remember, this is for educational purposes only. Look, I get it. We've all been there, right? You're scrolling through social media, seeing people with their fancy cars, designer clothes, exotic vacations. And there's this voice in your head saying, man, if I just had more money, everything would be better. I'd be happier. Life would be easier. All my problems would vanish. But here's the thing, and this is going to sound crazy, that's not how it works. Not even close. Today, we're diving deep into one of the biggest misconceptions about money and happiness. We're talking about why that next raise, that bigger house, that luxury purchase won't give you what you think it will. And more importantly, I'm going to show you what actually does create lasting happiness, even when your bank account is looking good. By the end of this video, you'll understand the psychology behind money and happiness. You'll learn where most people go wrong, and you'll walk away with practical insights that could literally change how you think about success. So let's get into it. All right, so first things first. Does money buy happiness at all? The answer is, kinda yeah, but only up to a point. There's this famous study, and researchers have looked at this from every angle, that found money absolutely does increase happiness, but only up to a certain income level. We're talking around $75,000 to $95,000 a year, depending on where you live. Think about it. When you're struggling to pay rent, when you're choosing between groceries and gas, when one emergency could wipe you out, that's incredibly stressful. Money solves those problems. It takes that constant anxiety off your shoulders. But here's where it gets interesting. Once you hit that sweet spot, once your basic needs are covered, you've got some security, maybe a little cushion, additional. Money doesn't move the needle much on your day-to-day happiness. You could go from 90 grand to 200 grand to $1 million, and your overall life satisfaction, pretty much the same. This is called the hedonic treadmill, and it's a real pain. Basically, we adapt to our circumstances crazy fast. You buy that dream car, and for 2 weeks you're on cloud 9. Then it just becomes your car, the new normal. You're already eyeing the next thing. I've seen this play out so many times. Guy gets a huge promotion, doubles his salary, he's pumped. 6 months later, same stress levels, same complaints, just with a bigger mortgage. The treadmill keeps spinning, but you're not actually getting anywhere. Now let's talk about something that makes this whole situation even worse. Comparison? Here's the brutal truth. Humans don't measure happiness in absolute terms. We measure it relative to other people. This is hardwired into us, and it's killing our joy. You could be making 6 figures, but if your neighbor just bought a Tesla and you're driving a 10-year-old Honda, suddenly you feel broke. Doesn't matter that you're in the top 20% of earners nationwide. You're comparing up, and you're losing. Social media has turned this into an absolute nightmare. We're constantly bombarded with highlight reels. People flexing their wins, their purchases, their lifestyles, and our brains can't help but compare. Why don't I have that? What am I doing wrong? Here's what most people don't realize. That person flexing on Instagram might be drowning in debt. They might be miserable, but you don't see that part. You just see the yacht, the watch, the exotic location, and you feel less than. There's actually research on this. People would rather make $60,000 when everyone around them makes $50,000 than make $70,000 when everyone around them makes $80,000. Think about that. They'd literally take less money just to feel relatively better off. That's bonkers, right? But that's how our brains work. The comparison trap keeps you perpetually unsatisfied because there's always someone with, well, always, you could be a billionaire, and there's still someone with a bigger yacht. The finish line keeps moving. So if money doesn't buy happiness after a certain point, what are we actually chasing? Most of the time, we're not chasing money itself. We're chasing what we think money will give us. Freedom, status, security, validation, love, respect. We think, if I had more money, people would take me seriously. My family would be proud. I'd finally feel successful. I wouldn't have to worry anymore. But here's the problem. Money is a terrible proxy for those things. You want freedom? I know people making 400 grand a year who work 80-hour weeks and haven't taken a real vacation in 5 years. They're trapped by golden handcuffs, terrified to step away because of their lifestyle expenses. Where's the freedom in that? You want respect and status? Those come from character, from contribution, from the impact you have on people's lives, not from the price tag on your shoes. You want security? No amount of money guarantees that. The wealthiest people in the world still face uncertainty, loss and fear. Different problems, same emotions. Here's what actually drives lasting happiness. According to decades of research, strong relationships, meaningful work, personal growth, health, and a sense of purpose. Notice what's not on that list. Your salary, your car, your square footage. I'm not saying money doesn't matter, it does. But we've been sold a lie that it's the main ingredient in happiness. It's not even close. It's more like salt. You need some, but too much ruins the dish. And it's definitely not what makes the meal great. Let's get real for a second. The pursuit of more money, when it becomes your primary focus, can actually make you less happy. First, there's the time factor. Making more money usually requires working more hours, taking on more stress, sacrificing time with family and friends. You're trading relationships and experiences, the actual sources of happiness, for a bigger paycheck. I've watched people climb the ladder, killing themselves to get to the next level, thinking, once I make it, then I'll be happy. Then I'll slow down. Spoiler alert, they never do. The goalpost keeps moving. Second, there's the lifestyle inflation trap. You make more, you spend more. Bigger house, nicer car, private schools, expensive hobbies. Your expenses rise to match your income, sometimes even exceed it. So despite making way more money, you don't feel any richer. You're just stressed about different bills. And here's something that'll blow your mind. Research shows that materialistic people, those who prioritize wealth and possessions, are actually less happy on average than people with other priorities. They report more anxiety, more depression, worse relationships. Why? Because the pursuit never ends. There's no finish line. You're chasing something that can never truly satisfy you. Plus, when you tie your identity and self-worth to your bank account, what happens when the market crashes? When you lose your job? When the business fails? You don't just lose money, you lose yourself. Okay, so if more money isn't the answer, what is? First, let's redefine wealth. Real wealth isn't about how much you make. It's about the gap between what you make and what you spend. It's about having enough to live comfortably without sacrificing your health, your relationships, or your peace of mind. I know people making 60 grand a year who are wealthy by this definition. They live within their means, have minimal debt, time for hobbies, strong relationships. And I know people making 300 grand who are broke, maxed out on everything, constantly stressed, relationships falling apart. Who's actually richer? Here's what actually creates happiness. Number 1, invest in experiences, not stuff. That vacation with your family, that concert with your friends, learning a new skill, those create lasting memories and joy. That new phone, you'll forget about it in a month. Number 2, use money to buy time. If you can afford it, outsource the stuff you hate. Hire someone to clean your house, mow your lawn, do your taxes. Use that time for things that actually matter to you. Studies show that people who trade money for time are happier than people who trade time for money. Number 3, invest in relationships. Take your friends out to dinner. Visit family. The quality of your relationships is the single biggest predictor of happiness. Not your job title, not your net worth. Number 4, find work that matters to you. You're going to spend a huge chunk of your life working. If you hate what you do, no amount of money will compensate for that misery. Find something that gives you purpose, that uses your strengths, that makes you feel like you're contributing. Number 5, practice gratitude. This sounds cheesy, but it works. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, appreciate what you do. The hedonic treadmill slows down when you consciously recognize the good in your life. And number 6, give it away. Seriously. Studies consistently show that spending money on others makes us happier than spending it on ourselves. Generosity activates reward centers in your brain. It gives you purpose and connection. The happiest wealthy people I know aren't the ones hoarding every dollar. They're the ones using their resources to make a difference, to help others, to create experiences and memories. Look, here's the bottom line. Money is a tool. That's it. It can solve certain problems, create certain opportunities, provide certain comforts, but it can't buy you meaningful relationships. It can't purchase purpose. It can't guarantee happiness. The people who figure this out, who earn enough to be comfortable but don't sacrifice everything chasing more, those are the people who actually enjoy life. Stop thinking more money is the solution to all your problems. Start thinking about what actually makes you happy and build your life around that. Maybe that requires more money. Maybe it doesn't. But at least you're chasing the right thing. The goal isn't to be rich. The goal is to be fulfilled. And sometimes those two things have nothing to do with each other. If this video changed how you think about money and happiness, smash that like button. And listen, we've got a whole series coming up on building real wealth. Not just financial wealth, but wealth in every area of your life. Subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. Drop a comment below. What's one thing you value more than money? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching Success Talks. Remember, true wealth is freedom, not just money. I'll catch you in the next one.